This is a Sonic game. And yes, I am making a review on this game. Don't forget, one of the rules is that I have to make a review for each game I finish. That includes the really short and weird ones. First of all, what even is Sonic Eraser? Well, before we start, let's get one thing straight. This is not your typical Sonic game. I mean, it's not really a Sonic game if you think about it. It's only a Sonic game because of the title and he stands right there in the middle of the screen. Anyway, Sonic Eraser is basically a super obscure little puzzle game released back in 1991. It was published by Sega for the Sega Mega Drive's online service in Japan called the Sega Game Toshokan, or the Sega Magnet. Now, this was all before online gaming was even a thing. You literally downloaded it over a modem. And honestly, I'm not even going to try and explain how that worked. Just know it sounds long as fuck and I couldn't be arsed to look into it more. Now, because of the service never made it outside of Japan, the game stayed super unknown to most of the world for years. So much so that a lot of Sonic fans don't even know of its existence. For the story, well, this game doesn't really have a traditional plot or story, so let's just move straight onto the game itself. Sonic Eraser is basically a puzzle game at its core. It's nothing more than that. The gameplay is basically like Tetris, or Puyo Puyo. Different coloured shapes will fall from above and you have to line up 3 consecutive pieces so your Sonic attacks the other player's Sonic, which will mess with their controls for a short time. Do it enough times and you win. What I found odd was that the shapes don't really rotate around a center point. They just switch positions in an anti-clockwise direction. You can't even rotate them clockwise, which is a really odd choice in my opinion. But at least you can hold down the button to make the shapes fall down faster. Sometimes during a game, random question mark boxes will appear that hide what the shapes are until they settle on the ground or on other shapes. You know, this kind of adds a little surprise to the gameplay, which is, it's kind of cool. You can play this game solo or with a friend, which makes it surprisingly versatile for a game this obscure. The game has 6 different modes that you can play. Normal mode, round mode, doubt mode, block mode, multiplayer mode, and finally, player versus computer. Now, normal mode is basically what you'd expect. You just connect the shapes like usual. The same goes for player versus computer, except in that mode, you're up against an AI. And the AI is, well, it's not very smart. I mean, the game was made in 1991, so I wasn't expecting anything mind-blowing, but, it is still a bit too easy, I think. If you go back to my gameplay video, you'll actually see that I beat the AI with basically 0 problems. Now, round mode is where things start to change up a bit. You have these weird green things with stuff spinning around them, and to get rid of them, you have to match shapes near them so they drop. This is the only mode that I actually struggled with. There are 9 rounds in total with a 3-minute timer for each one. Each round mixes up the number and placement of these green things, so it gets a bit more hectic as you go on. Now, I didn't actually manage to clear all 9 rounds, but if you really want to see that, let me know. Although, I doubt anyone's that desperate to see me suffer through Sonic Eraser of all games. Speaking of doubt, yeah, that's literally the next game mode. Doubt mode is alright. Basically, once your shapes land, they can randomly change into something else. So, half the time you're just sitting there hoping that the game doesn't screw you over. It's really less about skill and more about luck, which I really do not like. I personally don't think a game's very fun when it relies purely on luck. Now, in block mode, this one basically just throws normal physics out the window. So for example, let's just say you've got a line of 4 shapes and you place it on top of another flat row. In a normal mode, the pieces hanging off the edge will fall, right? Nope, not here. They just stay there, floating like they've completely forgotten how gravity works. And because of that, it kind of just makes the game mode feel very unnatural. You kind of end up losing really quickly, since you can't stack things in ways that you normally can. And, with my dumbass trying to keep up with it all, it kind of just turns into pure chaos really quickly. But anyway, now finally, multiplayer. Multiplayer is easily my favourite mode in the whole game. Playing this game with a friend makes it so much more enjoyable. Me and my friend Squinch actually had a few good laughs messing around in this mode. Now, if you take even one look at my channel, you'll know that I love playing games with my friends more. I do sometimes honestly struggle to play games on my own. I just personally have way much more fun when I've got someone else there with me to joke about with. Now, if I'm going to be honest, I've never really been fond of games like this, as my reaction time is fucking laughable. I literally can't play rhythm games. That's how bad my timing is. But surprisingly, I had a little fun with this one. Not a ton, obviously, but definitely more than I expected. I do think the game is way more entertaining against a friend though. So if you do ever find yourself wanting to play this, play it with a friend. It's so much more enjoyable. Like I did mention before, the AI in this game is just not good. So playing with a friend actually adds a lot more challenge. If you watched the gameplay video before this, you'll see clear as day that I struggled more against my friend than the actual game's AI. Graphically, this game isn't anything special. It's super dull and honestly kind of boring to look at. Take the main menu for an example. They just made a red book sprite and then slapped the word Sonic Eraser on it and called it a day. The colours are pretty basic as well. Nothing's really catching your eye in this game. And I mean, they literally ripped Sonic's pixel art straight from Sonic 1. Not that I expected much from a game made for a subscription service back in the 90s. I will admit though that the pixel art for when Sonic gets punched is pretty funny. Honestly, if you just gave him some bloodshot eyes, it would look like he just finished smoking a fat joint. I also love the visual of Sonic punching the shit out of himself. I don't know why, but it's super funny to me. He's just like, "Hey, you owe me money, bitch." Yeah!
Hey! What the hell, man?
Oh, shit. Sorry, dude. My bad.
Screw this. I'm out of here.
He still owes me money. You know, speaking of Sonic, why'd they choose to put Sonic up against himself instead of having a character there like Robotnik? Or, hell, even one of his badniks would have worked way better. I guess there just wasn't a lot of characters at the time to choose from, but come on. They were right there. Like, he's right there. Just fucking choose him. What the fuck? Anyway, and now to talk about the music. First, the menu music. Oh, wait a minute. Is my sound broken? Nope. The menu just doesn't have any music, which is a interesting choice. Like, the menu music is supposed to get you hyped for the game, but this game just doesn't have any. It's just like dead silent. It's like the game just wants you to sit there and think about if you actually want to play this game or not, and actually try to beat it. But maybe you can't. Maybe no one can. The game is endless. Maybe that's why there's no music. Because the game goes on forever, and ever, and ever, and ever, and ever, and ever, and ever. But to be honest, the menu having no music is actually a blessing, because once you start the game, the most horrid music kicks in. It literally jump scares you. Now, I don't like to completely bash on things, but this soundtrack is it's just beans, man. It's bad. It kind of just sounds like a PC from 2005 trying to run Minecraft shaders. Now, I do know that the hardware at the time was probably not the greatest and was probably not able to create the sound the artist was trying to make, but still, yikes. Now, the music for the Versus mode is a lot easier on the ears. Still not great, but at least that's something. Honestly, the existence of Sonic Eraser is just confusing. Why it was made and why it was made like this is beyond me. I guess Sega really needed a Sonic title for that service. Anyway, that's all I have to really say about this game. There's not much else I really want to talk about. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and consider subscribing. It really helps out the series. Please let me know your thoughts about what you thought about this game in the comments below, because this one's definitely a weird one. But we got a whole lot more games to go through, so please stick around, and I'll see you guys in the next one.